Hello Internet, welcome back to another edition of Eric's Corner with the Word of the Not So Wise. On today's episode, I'm going to dive back into the used car market. Now, why am I circling back to this? Well, I've gotten updated information and some new stories and scenarios for you. I talked about inflation, um, hyperinflation, and devaluation. Also, there was a computer chip shortage from overseas, created a manufacturing shortage that's been long for a while. Prior video you that when you buy a vehicle that's realistically worth $5,000 and you pay 15 grand for it, and you take a loan for it, and then as it's 20 years old and you only for a year and barely equity into your loan, and have a catastrophic failure like an engine, transmission, or something that's expensive to replace or fix, you're going to have a vehicle that's essentially worth nothing. You're going to owe 10 grand on it. Now, I mean, that sucks. But I also said that this is going to cause a continued used vehicle problem. I wasn't exactly sure what it was, but I think I might have it kind of figured out. Well, I kind of did, but I couldn't maybe explain it. So when you buy a vehicle, say I owe 10 grand on a vehicle, I trade it in, it's got a blown up engine. The dealership says they'll give you $2,000 for it. So I have $8,000 of negative equity to put on top of my next loan. Not a good way to go, but I mean, if it's what you got to do, it's what you got to do. Then that's going to have a snowball effect with used cars, because you pay on it for a couple years and you say, hey, cool, I'm gonna upgrade. I've got enough equity in this. I made payments. I make enough money where I can get another vehicle and sell this one. Well, you are 8 or 9 grand flipped, and they'll only loan 25% on top of your next vehicle. Which, if you get a $40,000 vehicle, 25% of that is another 10 grand. So you have another $200 a month payment, or in addition to. So I mean, you're talking, instead of a $600 payment, you're talking an $800 payment. So you pay on that for a couple years, and you decide to sell it, and well, you barely put a dent in the negative equity from your traded in vehicle. So now, and then you're not even counting the depreciation from a couple years of the vehicle you've been driving. So again, like a snowball effect, it's you guys overpaying for these used vehicles. We're gonna have a after tremor years later, and I'm already starting to see it. People that have a vehicle for sale and they're asking, say, $30,000 for it, and I'm over here going, nope. Well, I'm seeing them drop that asking price down $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 in one shot. And just for example, and I also mentioned when somebody pays, say, 15 grand for a vehicle that is really close to catastrophic failure and past its expected lifespan, they're going to go to sell it and say, oh, well, I bought it for 15, I owe 12 on it, so I'll just take 12 grand. It's got a blown engine. I'll take the 12 grand, just get, take over payments. And I'm going to look at it and go, no, I can't give you anything for it. Like, well, what do you mean? You have to buy it from me. This is what you do. It's like, well, I'm not going to buy it from you and put an engine in it and try and flip it for a big staggering loss. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not going to buy you out and compensate for your misfortune of a blown engine and pay for that with my labor. And of course, if I have to invest money into it, no, that's just absolutely absurd. And then that's where trading it in and being flipped on it goes. Somebody was saying, oh, it only needs the spark plug port helicoil. I was like, well, what if it can't be and it needs a new head? Well, that's only $1,000 and you can do that yourself. It's like, yeah, okay, so why would I do that and not have the savings in the buying price reflected for my labor that I have to put into it. Oh, I put 10 grand into it. I bought the truck for 10 grand a year ago. Okay, well, you're stupid. You paid 10 grand for a 21-year-old truck with 170,000 miles on it. I mean, and I looked at the truck and going, I have a buddy that from the VFW that had a dead nut similar truck that he sold for $3,200. Just, you know, a little more recently. And not going to go into the minutiae of the exact differences, but just smash the I believe button. I consider them to be fairly similar. And, you know, I tell people Blue Book things, go look at things, test drive them, put an ear to them, bring a friend with you who knows mechanics and see what things are worth. Now, stop smashing your keyboard. Listen, when I tell you it's worth I'm telling you something's worth around $5,000 or $7,000, let's say. And you're going to say, well, how do you know? Because you just said you got to look at it yourself. Yeah, I can tell you it's around $7,000. Not worth the $22,000 these people are asking for it. I mean, you understand that there's a very big difference, that it's definitely not worth this ridiculous amount. And you buy it, you take a loan out on it, and you're too close to catastrophic failure. And I mean, there are vehicles that you can consistently put 350,000 miles on. There's not very many of them, and they're usually mid-90s Toyota pickups or cars. So stop buying shit and make sure you know what you're buying. So that's my latest update on buying used vehicles, and my prediction of how we're going to have a very bad snowball effect where this is going to backlash and affect us down the road. And also, you know, people say, oh, well, you know, our dollar has lost value, so therefore you have less buying power. Okay, I agree. Problem is, these older vehicles that are close to needing repairs, maybe high dollar, maybe not, but they're going to need more maintenance and at least smaller repairs. Your dollar has less buying power to get new parts. And if it's something you can't do, you got to take it to a shop. That shop is charging more because your dollar is worth less. So do you understand the conundrum there? Like, oh, it's worth more because your dollar's worth less. No, it's worth less because our dollar's worth less because it takes more to fix. So a few more factors there. So anyway, that's what I got. That's my update on buying used vehicles. And like I said, I called it out a couple 3 months ago, what I thought was going to happen, but I feel like I in this video actually was able to detail it a little bit better. I think maybe not, but I mean, whatever. So thank you for joining me. I'm all wrapped up. So have a good rest of your weekend. It's springtime, starting to warm up. So get ready for summer. Thanks for joining me. Smash that subscribe button.